But right now, I want, right here, the market cap of Bitcoin just hit a new all-time high, $1.27 trillion. Trillion. Okay. And these ETFs continue to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And we're going to see a lot more incoming all-time highs. We just are, as this keeps moving on up. Previous high, 1.22 trillion, now 1.27. And guess what? It's going to keep going. So we are on fire with this market as a whole. As with everything else, when markets make huge moves, people are always trying to figure out the why it happened. Well, listen, people taking profits, man. And now I personally believe this is just a drop in the bucket. This wasn't the reason the market did what it did. But everybody pointing out here, and a lot of them, if you're on crypto Twitter, you've probably seen this go around many a times. Basically, this guy dropping from 2010, Bitcoin that was mined in 2010, dropping onto the market when all-time highs hit. And I'll tell you what, in these posts, I mean, there was so much hate, like just hate for this guy dropping his Bitcoin. Why? The guy's taking profits. It's his freaking Bitcoin. He can do what the hell he wants with it. That's the idea. What do you want, people to shit on you when you go and sell your Bitcoin? Now, I know it wasn't anybody who's here in this live stream, but this is the mentality of people. Like, how dare he not hold on to his Bitcoin? Stop. Just freaking stop. Ugh, sorry. And I'm not even on Crypto on the Rocks yet. Cheers. Let's bring up the video of Fed Chair Powell basically saying that he realizes there's going to be more bank collapses. Now, I'm going to let this go for a little bit. He gets into it about 2.5 minutes in. But part of what he gets into when he's talking is, well, this is smaller banks. It's not the bigger banks, so it's okay. Which is why when the 5 banks collapsed last year, they had got everybody to try and move to these bigger banks because they're too big to fail. And regardless what you call it, bailouts, bail-ins, whatever, which they don't want to say bailouts anymore because that had such a negative connotation back in 2008 when everything just fell to shit. Now it's all bail-ins. They're prepared for this, and even in this section that we're about to watch, he talks about reaching out to the bank and, hey, are you prepared for this? So let's let him do the talking. And yeah, every once in a while, I'll probably chime in there because Lord knows I can't keep my big mouth shut sometimes.
So what do? We have identified the banks that have high commercial real estate concentrations, particularly office and retail, and other ones that have been affected a lot. We identify them, and we are in dialogue with them around, do you have your arms around this problem? Do you have enough capital? Do you have enough liquidity? Do you have a plan? You're going to take losses here. Are you being truthful with yourself and with your owners?
What do you think the answer to that question is? I'm going to go with no. I mean, come on, think about it. I mean, these banks are, well, check out a couple of the other live streams that I did that I linked in the description of this live stream. But at the end of the day, the Fed basically screwed most of these banks when they went in to long-term treasuries, and then the Fed just with the interest rates and trashed long-term treasury holdings, put these banks in bad positions. So the fact that they're reaching out to them and asking them, hey, are you being truthful? Well, you know what? Please, just please, coming from this guy right here. I'm sorry. These people are not here, the Fed, etc. They're not here to help you and I. They're just not. That's not even in their wheelhouse at this point. All right, let's get through this because he's about to be getting into, he sees more bank failures coming.
And so we've been working with them. And so For some time, we've been doing that. And, this is a problem that we'll be working on for years more, I'm sure. There will be bank failures, but this is not the big banks. If you look at the very big banks, it's not a first order issue for any of the very large banks. It's more, smaller and medium sized banks that have these issues.
Okay. So you get the idea right here. I mean, okay, yep, there's more bank failures coming. Yep, let's just put it out there. Well, no shit. I mean, if you're paying any kind of attention to what's going on, obviously that's the case. Again, Captain Obvious right here. But he tells you, well, don't worry, it's not the big banks. Part of what I was going to be or wanted to talk about today was the latest mud. I mean, I think that's about as nice as I can put it, being doled out by supporters of the Elizabeth Warren for Senate campaign. And for those who don't know, well, I think everybody who is probably on this live stream and is in any way involved with cryptocurrency knows that Elizabeth Warren is in the process of trying to put anti-crypto legislation, basically the legislation that she recently wrote with the help of the banking association was to basically do a backdoor ban on cryptocurrency. And though she doesn't have the greatest track record with getting bills that she sponsors approved and through, she did have a good amount of support with regard to co-sponsorship of this bill. And it is definitely something that needs to be addressed, needs to be put down for the backdoor ban and just overall poor legislation that it is. But then I expect nothing less from Elizabeth Warren. Here we go. Senate passes $1.2 trillion funding package in an early morning vote. And I like the end here, ending the threat of a partial shutdown. Screw that. Ugh. Government's too freaking big as it is. And I love the fact they got this clown here as the picture on the screen because he is a clown. Yeah. So again, this vote happened about this bill at around 3:30 in the morning. Why are they doing it so surreptitiously? Why? Because they know there's nothing but a bunch of bullshit in this bill. And to boot, the entire bill is over 1,000 pages long. 1,000 pages. And it was given to the senators 10 hours before the vote. So you tell me, what's the chances anyone even read this frickin' thing? I'll wait. Obviously, no one read this. Even if they had their whatever you call them, underlings go through the bill, it was skimming it at best. And I'm sure that the votes, for the most part, were bought and paid for. Sorry, just the way I feel. It's a fact of the matter. Our government is as as corrupt as I don't even have a comparison right now. If you've been in and around even just Twitter over the last 24 hours, you know that right here, basically, it was leaked out that the SEC is looking for $2 billion in fines from Ripple. And in here, they say the regulator has become unhinged. How can you not say that this regulator is unhinged? Gary Gensler has, for whatever reason, this guy used to teach about blockchain and Bitcoin and all this other stuff at MIT back in the day. He used to speak very positively on it back in the day. And now he's on a one-man crusade. Now, don't get me wrong. I realize that he's having his strings pulled by Elizabeth Warren, and he's having his strings pulled by the FJB administration. I get it. I understand. I completely do. However, it's like grow a set of nuts and decide that you're not just going to throw shit against the wall and try and make it stick. This enforcement through regulation action or actions that Gary is just putting out here into the cryptocurrency space is doing nothing to promote cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, or expansion of that technology, development of that technology here within the United States.